Yeah, that is of course always the really big question for me. Is it right now ideal for eel fishing? Or am I going to stand here for half an hour and not a single eel goes in here? So if we want to go eel fishing, it always means that we have a very high chance of not catching even one fish. Because the eel is just so hard to catch, because it is so random, we have to pay attention to the outside conditions so that everything is as good as possible for the eel, so that we even have a chance that an eel goes in here. In addition, of course, we have the problem that in one night, we can only test one spot. And of course, we cannot be at all the different spots at the same time to also test there. However, I'm already seeing the second bite here right now, and that already makes a really good impression. So we'll gladly take that here. And I'm curious what it is. I suspect in this case it's more of a burbot, and yes, it has bitten again. Oh yeah, I almost thought it didn't anymore. Yes, that's the burbots. They pull so often and try and play with the bait for a long time before they actually start biting. So I'm now here at a classic spot for eel fishing at the Old Burg. That means we just go out here from the Old Burg, up there is already the gate, walk out here, and immediately end up in this area. And here, it's eel time. And when is it eel time here? That's important, of course, already in the evening hours. That means around 5 or 6 p.m. you can already be at the spot, because even then you sometimes have the chance that an eel already goes in. And what's even more important, we make sure that the weather conditions are right. And we can see that here now, these are very good weather conditions for eel fishing. So ideally, under 15 degrees, preferably cloudy or also rain. So either heavy rain or lighter rain, both are already really good up to simply cloudy weather. And as I said, important, ideally under 15 degrees. So really nice and cold. Then that's already quite a good sign. Of course, the eel can still randomly go in at normal temperatures. Even if it's sometimes over 20 degrees, eels will still be caught now and then. But in recent years, it has simply turned out that more eels or easier eels are caught when the weather is accordingly. There are numerous positions here on the map. Let's just check where I am right now. This too, of course, is an absolutely classic spot. You'll probably even know it already. In addition, there's also up here in this area, near the classic carp spot at 2167. Then you go back a bit. There are some water lilies here, and in this area eels are caught now and then. And if you're at 2267 and cast straight out from there, eels are also regularly caught there. Then there's another position here. There's also a small reed edge and water lilies. You can cast there very well too. And of course down here in the foot area, we can fish once from the bridge, once on the left side and once on the right side, each time casting out about 7 or 8 meters. Eels also go in there again and again, and then in the middle of the foot, there's also a spot. You cast there in front of the reed edge. You can also fish really well there. Yes, and this is the last important spot here on the map, directly at the campsite. There are already some videos about this spot. And then of course, there's always the question, which baits do you use? Of course, you can go from nightcrawler to fish pieces to frog to crayfish tail. A large selection of baits works regularly here for the eel. The simplest are probably the fish pieces because they also exclude many other fish. That means with fish pieces we trigger the eel, the Chinese sleeper, or the burbot, and with a lot of luck, also the catfish. The fish pieces therefore offer much more time in the water for the respective fish species because not so many fish like this bait. With the worm, it's like this. Almost all fish will also eat the nightcrawler, and we therefore have a significantly lower chance that an eel will also bite on it. At this spot, I'm now clipped at 6 meters and always cast exactly into this gap here, very loosely cast at 6 meters. Important, of course, is also the setup. We'll look at that in a moment. Whether you are fishing here with a bottom rod or with a float, so bolo, match rod, or telescopic rod, that's all the same. If you can already use double baits, that's of course another very interesting additional attraction effect. We'll now take a look at the first setup here, and then I'll also directly switch the rod to the match rod. And then we have two different fishing methods here right away. So, I'm now quite fine here with the bottom setup. This is the thinnest carp leader material there is, a very thin braided line with a breaking strain of 6.8 kilograms. That's usually quite good enough for eel fishing, so around 7 kilograms is a good strength. The eel is said to be very shy, according to RF4, and accordingly we have to make sure to outsmart it very fine and delicate. Still, I'm currently using a size 1 Nero hook, so that if something big goes in, it really is something big, and the smaller fish maybe just go away again. If you want to take every fish, for example in a tournament, you can also very well stand here with a size 8 hook, and in this case for the bottom rods, once again the fish pieces. That's it, and I won't cast this rod again, but now use my float rod, in this case a match rod, and we'll set that up now. So I'm now using my Beluga Eva 6000, not only excellent for fishing at Copper Lake, but of course also due to the extremely high line capacity, excellent also for carp fishing, eel fishing, spinning, so a very, very good all-round reel. As main line, I'm using a monofilament line, in this case with 17 kilograms. That's not so relevant though, because I'm also using a leader. Here, I'm also using a mono leader, because monofilament is even thinner than fluorocarbon, and we want a nice thin line. Size 1 hook and 2 fish pieces, round the whole thing off. And we'll now drop it to 1.20 meter depth, and then cast loosely right here in this area. Then turn the speed up nicely, open the bail, let some line slack. Of course, turn the drag down with such a thin line or thin leader, and then we can now just set it down and see what happens. And time-wise, we're now also already getting into a very good phase. So from about 4 a.m. until around 10 a.m. is still an excellent time or a perfect time to catch eels. In the evening hours, I only had a Chinese sleeper bite, but around 11 p.m. the first eel was already here. That was actually the reason I started this video, because without an eel, I of course wouldn't have made the video at all. So we know the eel is already there. Now you just need luck that it also goes in. You can of course also test in the entire area. So starting from up here, then as I said, this middle area, over here in front of the reed edge. So just cast across the entire area, testing different parts now and then, and of course with different baits. At this spot, I have already caught trophies on frog several times, so that works really well too. However, when fishing with bait fish or with frog, always be aware that in the morning, and of course also in the evening hours, pike can bite. Then you might rather switch to fluorocarbon, because fluorocarbon offers some safety against pike bites. And now, it's 6 a.m. That means it's slowly starting again. That also the daytime fish become much more active. It also means that we can catch the Chinese sleeper again from time to time. But don't get annoyed, because this fish now brings really, really good silver. And there is probably already one on. Well, what do we have here? Ay ay ay. And that is of course a lucky coincidence, because silver-wise, the trophies are at least as good as a medium-sized eel. And of course, we'll also check that in the fish market in a moment. I'm very curious what the trophy Chinese sleeper brings in silver. But first, of course, I'll cast again, because it's not over yet. We still have the right time for eel fishing, and there really seems to be something going in on bottom again. I'm curious. Well, the Chinese sleeper also goes on bottom again. If you want to catch more of this fish, ideally, you go here with a size 8 hook for eel. That means you catch significantly more of the Chinese sleeper during the day and also again in the evening hours, and can at least earn some more silver steadily. Especially when testing for eel, it is often the case that such a test ends with 0. That means you just don't catch an eel. Even here at this spot, it can very well happen that you stand here for 3 nights and don't catch a single eel. It just remains a very rare fish, and it is also somewhat random. You can hardly influence it, except as just shown, with very nice fine thin leaders so that you don't create much spooking effect, and ideally at as cool temperatures as possible. At night, we usually have under 10 degrees, which is very good. And there goes the next one in. Yes, what do we have there? Well, we have the next Chinese sleeper. I'm already very satisfied here. This is going really well. Maybe I won't even go eel fishing anymore, and instead just lay out 3 rods only for the Chinese sleeper. I'll just close the bail now and we'll check the fish market. First, of course, a quick look at the cafe. The fish aren't in there, but I'll also do the cafe order in a moment. So, pike catch, twice with 2 kilograms. That's of course done quickly. Quick earned 100 silver. You should definitely always do that. And now we'll check the fish market next. Yes, and I think that's already quite a good sign. Sorting by price. Chinese sleeper, eel. I hope you can see it's much easier to catch a Chinese sleeper even as a trophy than a large eel. So if you have such a spot where you catch Chinese sleeper, get to the spot, whether with the big nightcrawler or with fish pieces, you can basically only win. And if on the side by accident, an eel also goes in, then you've done everything right. Then you catch a nice eel additionally and make even more silver with it. So that's it for the spot. If it helped you, leave a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe. That helps me a lot. And then see you in the next video. Until then, tight lines.